Welcome to Talking Giants presented by SeatGeek. I'm your host, Bobby Skinner, here with my co-host, Justin Pennick. And we've got it. An interview we've been wanting to do for a while, waiting for the right time to do it. And there's been no better time than this time of the year. In the year of 2022, we got Brandon Jacobs, two-time Super Bowl champion, running back for the New York Giants. Justin, how you doing? We got some FanFest announcements we're going to talk about. But I'm excited for the Brandon Jacobs interview. He was very open, and we are going to have him beat the shit out of Mark Columbo.
Yeah, that was like the main thing to come out of it. Like, you know how Snacks has his spit list that if he ever saw in person, he'd spit in their face? Brandon Jacobs, he ever saw Mark Columbo in public, would punch him in his freaking face and then also spit on him. So that was crazy. But it's a lot of fun. Pretty long interview, too. It's like a little solid 45-minute interview for you, and it was transparent the entire time, kind of talking, joking around a little bit too, but then he also kind of got some deep with some football stuff too, which was cool to hear. So yeah, Bobby Skinner, excited for everybody to listen to it.
No doubt. Before we get into the interview and our FanFest announcements, this episode, and the reason we're able to do stuff like FanFest, was brought to you by Sean Pelillo, and then Greg Kemaluka. He's gonna juke ya. You know, I don't know if there's any Book of Basketball listeners out there, the podcast, but Bill Simmons' son, that jingle he has at the beginning of it is actually kind of catchy. Justin, who are these people?
Patreon.com/TalkingGiants. That's where these wonderful people went for $2 a month plus some other tiers. You get to hang out with us live while we record the shows. I know a show that's coming up that's one of my favorite shows of the entire year because we get to keep track of, you know, how we actually do. We get to put our takes out there. Is the Over Under show. Bobby, when is that coming up?
Probably like 2 weeks from now.
2 weeks from now. So
maybe
after the 4th of July.
Episode we come back from our vacation week.
All right, cool. So after the 4th of July. So you get to hang out with us while we record some shows live. Bobby Skinner will send you some stickers, magnets in the mail. And then twice a month, there's some shirt raffles that you're into so you can win some shirts like the Brian Dable coach shirt that I have on right now. Patreon.com/TalkingGiants.
Yeah, come have fun with us. Our 4th of July mailbag we're recording on Thursday, which obviously both of us, Danny King and Snacks, will be there. The tweet is out to ask questions again. It's non-Giants football, current Giants football related questions. So we put some in there. I saw some good ones in there already. So, pretty much, I won't say nothing's off limits, but ask us whatever you want, whether it's personal or hypothetical or whatever. All right, Justin. FanFest. The Giants announced that they are, one, letting fans back in the training camp, which was awesome, but they're also doing a FanFest again, and they're putting the FanFest on a Friday night. Like, me and you talked, and we're like, man, they're supposedly going to have fans back in. I could see them just cutting the FanFest. They never did FanFest before this last year, so they're going to, one or the other. But they did that, and they're putting FanFest on a Friday night. It's going to get pretty rowdy. So, just for us, all the practices will be there, so come hang out with us. Come say hi to us at all those practices. But as like last year, we are doing another catered event, parking lot G, like we did. We'll be out there at like 3:00. Maybe we'll maybe even get out there a little earlier.
Yeah, we're not going to be coming from the city, so.
yeah. I gotta. We're gonna have the big black vans going to be out there. That's going to be a staple of it, and catered event by Candlewick Diner, and then so come hang out and have a good time, and then we'll also do another show with License Plate Guide Entertainer. Justin, I'm asking you on the fly. Is there any way we can set up speakers to where people could hear the show this year instead of having to huddle around?
I could talk to Dan, the tech man at John Boy Media, who has been wonderful to us, to see if there's a way that we can record both through the roadcaster that we record on, so we could put it on YouTube the next day in the podcast apps for people that can't attend so they can hear the convo, but then also so people can hear live. I'm sure there is a way that we can do that. And even if it requires a little bit more of a setup, we have time to do that. But in all seriousness, when it comes to this FanFest and the whole Giants training camp, I feel like we don't give the Giants enough credit on things. And granted, they haven't won a lot of games. They've messed up the GM. MetLife Stadium is a dump of a stadium, and the medium Pepsi was a funny thing that happened last season. But I want to give the Giants credit, and I want to give them a metaphorical round of applause for opening up training camp and having this fan fest, because the fan fest was really fun last year. So doing both of those things, you're late, but this is very, very well done, and it's a very exciting season to do it too. So thank you to the Giants.
Yeah, I got pretty pissed at them last year, and deservedly so. They were being lazy. But this year, I mean, they did 10 practices, which is more than they usually do. It's usually 8 or 9, plus the fan fest. So good on the Giants. So make sure to come out. We'll promote it more as the time goes on. But I remember last year, a lot of people had FOMO for not coming to that. And this year it's on a Friday, so you don't have, the excuse. Get out there Friday. I think it's on August 5th. So come out to FanFest. It's going to be a great time. I'm really looking forward to it. We met a ton of cool people last year, did a show, free food, brought to you by Candlewick Diner, bring your own booze, and have a good time. It was really cool last year. And I have a rant to start that show. I have a rant that's going to have to do with something from FanFest last year. So I've already got it boiling in my head.
Snacks
to start
was
off.
right. We booed Snacks to start the show because he was like, how many games are we gonna win? And he was like 2. And we all booed him. And he was like, right.
But I have a rant that has to do with last year's FanFest. So
okay.
So make sure to show up out there for that.
Don't regret running the lap.
We'll talk about it.
Okay, we'll talk about it.
All right, we could send it to the Brandon Jacobs interview first. It's time to step up to the plate with DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner in Major League Baseball. New customers can bet just $5 on any game and get $150 in free bets. But no matter what, win or lose, you get those free bets. Sorry, you get $150 in free bets no matter what, win or lose. I read that in a bad cadence. Looking to turn another small bet into a big payday this baseball season with DraftKings same-game parlays, you can do just that. Create your own parlay by combining multiple bets, like which team will win, total runs, extra innings, and more, and boom, you have a shot at an even bigger payout. Speaking of Cadence, I actually thought about Cadence Smith the other day. I was like, I feel bad that his career's kind of over. That injury sucked.
Yeah.
We're going to go to a Yankee game, probably one of the Mariners, on like a Monday or Tuesday night in the beginning of August. So maybe I'll put together a parlay for that. Right now, if your same-game parlay doesn't hit, you can get a free bet back up to $10. DraftKings is safe, secure, and reliable. Best of all, you deposit and withdraw your cash whenever you want. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now. Use promo code JOHNBOY. New customers can make any $5 MLB bet and get $150 in free bets no matter what. That's promo code JOHNBOY only at DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner in Major League Baseball. Minimum age and eligibility restrictions apply. See show notes for details. MLB trademarks used with permission. And now, 2-time Super Bowl champion, Brandon Jacobs. We now welcome on White Boy, who our other guests just referenced him as Brandon Jacobs, 2-time Super Bowl champion. Number one in a lot of Giants fans' hearts, and he's even looks like he's coaching. You got some plays in the background the opponents might steal. What's going on, man? It's good to get you on. You've been a guest we've wanted to have you on for a long time.
Yeah, well, I'm here, man. Just coaching kids and just having fun, kind of enjoying retirement. And thanks for having me.
No doubt. And I want to ask you about your son, who just looks like a beast, even though you work him a little too much on social media. I'll throw this to Joe. Joe, how did you guys link up and meet to where you guys are, more than just, Joe has relationships with a lot of guys, but clearly you guys are a little close.
Love a good how we met story.
Yeah, it's different when it comes to Brandon because, he's probably the realest player I've ever met in my entire life. Look, it's no secret I've been going to games forever. And, one day I'm at a hotel, a road game, probably Dallas, and I'm walking the hallway and I hear, yo, you. And I'm like, I didn't know person was talking to me. He said it again. Yo, I'm talking to you. I turn around. It's this guy bigger than life. It's Brandon Jacobs. And I'm like, me? He's like, yeah, who the fuck are you? And I'm like, I didn't know what to say. I was completely speechless. And I was like, I'm Joe. I didn't even know what to say. And the rest is history. Is we sat at the bar. Brandon, how long? I don't even know.
I had to go to meetings. No, it was after meetings. I had to go up a curfew.
Yeah.
I had to go up a curfew. It was 11 o'clock curfew. It was night before game. we had our meetings. We got out around 7:45. So guys normally get 7:45, 8:00. You get out the meeting. Usually guys will go eat. We'll go grab something to eat in whatever town we're in. We typically didn't go too many places when we came to Dallas, for whatever hotel is we're in got good restaurants. So saw Joe in the lobby, and we just sat down in the lobby and at the bar and just had some drinks. And I'm thinking this guy, like, this dude is sitting behind us, like, and everywhere we go, he's sitting behind us, right behind, drinking all our Gatorade, like everything. He's like right, and he's like on the 45, 50-yard line, like every time. Like he might be slightly off some weeks. So I said those tickets aren't cheap for him to be continue like doing that. Like, how the fuck does this guy afford these fucking tickets? Like, who is he? Like, who? What type of bread does he have? Like, what does he do? I would always look up. You see, I'm like, man, that dude is back there again. Get like obviously hair wasn't as long as it is now. Stands out, this jersey on with all kind of pictures on. I'm like, like this guy. We got license plates hanging off the damn like over the stadium. So I'm like, I didn't know who it was. So I had a chance to see him and ask him, like, bro, who are you? Like, what do you do? Like, you spending some good money for these tickets, man.
And then the rest is history. I mean, he invited me over one day, go swimming, and the rest is history. Been friends ever since. And like I said, probably the realest person I've ever met in my entire life. And his family is golden. You mess with his family, you get the shit beat out of you. And I'm not talking about from Brandon. His wife will kill you.
Yeah.
All right, noted. When Braden's in the draft, we'll be easy on our critiques of him. 4 or 5 years from now.
Brandon.
But
he's seeing everything now. Every time you get a little bit out there, people talking. I say, you just got to take that, man. That's just what it is. Got to take it. Roll with it. So he'll be ready for it.
Joe, you mentioned a couple of things, about Brandon, Brandon, you being real. And I think that's why a lot of Giants fans liked you, is you kept it real all the time. You played with the chip on your shoulder, but also with your family. Now what is it like, now that, you're raising your kids, obviously. And now, I mean, I saw the other day, Braden, who I guess he plays offensive tackle. Like he had like 3 offers from like top D1 schools in one day. How's that like been handling that process with your son now?
It's interesting, man, because when I was getting recruited, it wasn't like this. It just wasn't like it is now. We weren't going to schools trying on, like putting on their uniform. Like we weren't doing any of that. We were
photo shoots.
Yeah, we weren't doing any of that stuff, man. So I look at them, I'm like, dude, they really spoiling you guys, but at the same time they're spoiling you, I want you to realize that kid behind you plays your position. You just took pictures in the uniform as well. Got 4 or 5 kids that play your position. They take a uniform. They trying their best to spoil like all of y'all. So better keep your mind going in the right direction and kind of make a decision off of how you feel about the coaching, not what they got. Because everybody gonna have nice stuff, but it's definitely different than like anything I went through. So I'm kind of learning on the fly right now, myself.
Anywhere he's leaning right now? Could we, break the news?
Nah. He's only in the 9th grade. Well, he's going to the 10th grade, so he's not.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he's not really leaning anywhere right now. You don't know who he'll get. He said he wanted to get 2 offers. He said he wanted to achieve 2 offers. Like, it mattered. But Georgia was one and Alabama was one. He said that. I said, "What? Are you going to go to Georgia, Alabama?" He's like, "Well, I would like to have the option to go to Georgia, Alabama." I'm like, "Oh, so." Here's the thing: you guys make Georgia and Alabama special by putting them on your top list to get. You guys make them what they are, So he's looking at it, and he got one from Georgia. Now we getting ready to go to Alabama, coming here soon. For him to go camp there and maybe see if he can get that one. Call it a day, I guess.
He's in 10th grade, and he's almost as big as you. Or I think he's bigger
grade.
than you.
10th grade.
Yeah, he's going to the 10th. He's big. I'm tired of saying 6'5.5". I see he looks about 6'6" now. It's probably 307, 310, something like that.
You round up on the sites. That's what you do. If you're 6'4", 6'5", you bump it up to 6'6" on the sites.
I'm just tired of saying 6'5.5".
if we get him on the show, he'll be the 3rd biggest guy out of this group. I'm in the 6'7". three bill range. So,
Sure.
would be the smallest that Brandon Jacobs ever felt in an interview. But you mentioned Georgia. You're a Giant. That's the way to get him to the Giants. Is we drafted like 6 Georgia players in 3 years. Are you coaching his? I know you've coached. You coach Little League and stuff in Georgia. Are you coaching his team currently, or just working with him separately?
So I mean, a lot of people always say that, man. As a dad, you might want to step back and just let your son go and play with other people. I got the luxury to be able to coach him from the age, 7 years old till he's in college. His time is coming to not be coached by his dad. And it's when he go to college.
Yeah.
So I mean, I love it. I love sharing it with them. It's great. So going to the Giants. That's what he said. He said that's the goal, to be drafted by the Giants. He did tell me that about 3 or 4 years ago that's what he wanted to be. He wanted to be drafted by the Giants. I'm like, it's not that, it's not that hard. You got the measurables, like you'll be able to get it done. You got to just work.
We're big Braden fans. We're rooting for that to happen. Last summer, though, I wanna get back to you. Last summer, there was a little bit of rumors about you putting the pads back on, playing D end. Giants were a little thin, and you're like, all right, I'll suit up. So I mean, we gonna see any videos? We gonna see anything you putting pads back on, playing some D end or anything
how
like
real
that
was
the
that?
high school guys?
How real was that, or were you just making fun of Tim Tebow?
No, it was real. Until I started training and the soreness started happening, like maybe 3 weeks into it. The soreness started coming from continuously training and running and doing all these drills and doing all this shit, got time on my body, knees and stuff just started hurting. Like it was just like bad, but it was like it came at like that 3 week point. Then I'd take a break, take a day off, try to let my body get better, and it took me so long to get back to where I can go out and train again. That told me my body isn't recovering the same. So I might not want to waste people's time. So I just let it blow with the wind.
But you were thinking about it.
Yeah, I was training for it.
Awesome.
Well, we still see you working your son outside in. He's got to work on the post foot. You made it look easy on him a few times on Instagram. Speaking of sore, this video just popped up the other day. I never knew you did the sports science until literally yesterday. And I've never seen the sports science guy involved in it. How nervous was he before you trucked him?
Man, he was quite excited about it. So I walked in and he was like, "Oh, I can't wait. This is what I've been wanting. I can't wait. Let's do it. Hey, let's go. He was sitting really like I get a chance to feel this shit, But it was pretty, it was pretty cool going through it though. But he was really excited about it, man.
Was he excited afterwards?
He said we went out after that because I was stayed the night. We went out there and had a few drinks. Like, man, I got a headache out of this world. I felt like I'll never normal again. It was cool though, man. It was good.
Yeah, I went to watch it. One of our listeners recommended it, and I went to go watch it. I'm like, oh my god, this little dude is just gonna stand in the way. Okay,
in the way, like talking about, like not half of me, not like straight through him. Right.
I mean, you're a guy who's ran over LaRon Landry, Woodson, got some, he just saw that and was like, yeah, I want to sign up for that. So credit to him.
About that.
So we mentioned LaRon Landry and those guys. What is like your most memorable favorite run that you've had?
It wasn't even one where I ran someone over. I was playing against the Minnesota Vikings, and we was playing them maybe in Detroit. Is that something? Yeah, we're playing them in Detroit.
Yeah, the year their roof fell in.
Yeah.
That's correct.
It was that game. I had a 73, 74-yard run to the sideline. Made a couple good cuts. Read the blocks out well. It was pretty easy. It was a pretty easy run. I got a chance to show a little speed. That was probably my favorite run. I don't really have a bunch of them, but runs where I ran somebody over, I would have to say run.
Yeah.
Okay.
I personally like the 4th and 1, but that's just me.
We're going to ask about that. But Joe, I have a question for you that he made me think of. What was your travel like that weekend when they canceled? I was actually in Minnesota, I was playing ball in Minnesota for those couple of years. What was your travel like? Did you go to Minnesota and then have to go to Detroit?
It was the craziest thing ever. I wound up landing in Duluth, Minnesota. No flights after that. And I said, that's a piece of cake. I'll rent a car and I'll get to Minneapolis. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, it's maybe 2 hours to get to Duluth to Minnesota. And it wound up to be like 6 hours in the worst storm I've ever been in my life. And I got to the hotel, the Giants Hotel, checked in the wee hours of the night, woke up to the dome collapsing and finding out that the Giants didn't even make it. They were held up in Kansas City.
Yeah, I was going to ask if they were stranded too. I remember
they were stranded in Kansas City. And if the game was held, I believe, Monday, my streak would have ended. But it was pushed to Tuesday in Detroit. And I think I pulled some planes, trains, and automobiles. And I wound up getting to the game. And the coolest thing ever was, and Brandon probably doesn't remember this, Brandon is the one who got me on the field that game. And it was literally one of the coolest feelings in the world, because I'm walking around Detroit Stadium with Brandon before the game, and not a soul was in there yet. Like, it was unbelievable. I'll send you guys a picture of it, because it's just Brandon and I standing behind the Giants bench. We didn't know what was going on.
People gonna be at the game. Like, did they get the memo that?
Yeah.
You know.
I think they gave away tickets because I was, I was a broke college kid, and we almost thought about driving from Minneapolis to Detroit for that.
They opened it up to the fans in Detroit. You're right. That was a crazy weekend. That was unbelievable.
My favorite Brandon Jacobs play is, I think it's 2009 against Dallas, and it's not a run, but it's a catch. Whenever you got a chance to show off your speed, and when you got downhill and you got past that first level and you got a chance to outrun some guys. So it was down the left sideline, 2009, a big 74-yard receiving touchdown, and you like hurdle over some guys and you wound up just diving into that end zone. So that's my favorite Jacobs play. So it's not just when you're running somebody over, but you got a chance to show off that speed too. Because you're 200 something pounds and you're running away from dudes too. It was insane, man. Insane.
Cafe X Shallow, I still remember that play you're talking about. Cafe X Shallow, the linebacker had to take me or take you, so that let me outflank him. Like, once I outflanked him and turned to caught the ball and get to the sideline, he was too late. But he was the one though who ended up getting. He kept coming because I tripped up along the way on the sideline. I tripped up along the way, which slowed me down. And that had him catch up, but it was too late. I was already in his zone. I know exactly what you're talking about. Exactly.
Well, we're all sharing our favorite Brandon Jacobs runs. Mine is the one in the Dallas playoff game, not necessarily because of the run, but just to this day, my favorite celebration is you just curl hopping the ball into the play clock. Was that pre-planned, or you were just like, fuck this stupid city and throw it through the ball?
Yeah, more like what it was, though, champ. It was like, I hate these motherfuckers. You know, and that like it's hitting and just like I couldn't ball up enough hate. Like, that's as I felt.
Yeah, you could feel the hate in that throw, and I think that's why it's every year. Every time that shows up, I'm like watching it over. Just the sound it made is, you could put me in a room by myself and just hear that sound, and I'm like, that's Brandon Jacobs throwing the ball at Dallas.
Mm-hmm. I think that's one of the reasons why, Brandon was so loved and still is by Giant fans. Like, he kept doing stuff like that to especially teams that we hated. I used to watch him beat up the goalpost pad every single place he went. He would just box the pad that had either Dallas or Eagles or whatever. And especially in Philadelphia, he loved to get on that case because he loves the fans over there anyway. If there was another place he'd play, didn't you tell me that one time there was a place he would play? It would be in Philly.
The place would probably be Philly because Philly fans.
And I would have hated you then.
Yeah, I love that.
See, that's a take I have that I don't say a lot because I low-key love Philly fans because they're just nutcases, and I gravitate towards nutcases.
I love it. I love them. I love him to death. Tell him all kinds of shit. So, as much as I love the Giants fans, those fuckers were more mean to us than they were to anybody else.
Yeah, that's true. We know that for a fact.
We all know that. We all know it.
Man.
Speaking of people we hate from Dallas, Mark Columbo, you had your a little run-in with him back in the day. Mm-hmm. Joe Judge ended up having a run-in with him. Giants, I mean, we can't stand him. I thought he was a horrible coach. We nicknamed him Dumbo Columbo.
I think with him and I was going to clear something up. That's something Patrick Creighton said before the game, right? And I was going there with some, you said this and you said that. This fucker pushes me in my back. Like, oh, that's a bitch move. Like, why would you do that? Like, I'll beat your ass out here on this field. I will whoop your ass on this field. And then Coach Gilbride came in. Coach Gilbride's old, I kind of kept my cool. Coach Gilbride's older guy. I didn't want to put that type of pressure on him to stop me from really, doing what I wanted to do and possibly get in trouble too. So he pushed me from behind. I thought that was a bitch move, but whatever.
He's a weirdo.
I guess he felt good about it.
He's got a metal band. So I tweeted at you a few months ago, a lot of celebrity boxing matches. We saw Frank Gore in there, who's one of my favorite guys of all time.
I love Frank.
What kind of purse do we have to set up to get a Brandon Jacobs versus Mark Columbo boxing match? Because he needs it. He doesn't have a job.
It doesn't even matter. I'll stop him before one. I promise you that.
I need it. I really need it. It
doesn't matter. Hey, pay me whatever. I'm with it.
It's my life.
So
question.
So you're saying like a celebrity softball game, home run derby, celebrity boxing match. I got it. We're in. Don't worry about it. I'll take care of it.
So I'm going to tweet this at him. He's a pussy. He won't react. I can't stand him. But I won't. Before I die, I need to see Brandon Jacobs. One round, Mark Columbo.
I'll get in there. With with him. I'll get in there. There's no question. There's no question about it. I will get in there with him.
You have your choice to whoop someone's ass, Rex Ryan or Mark Columbo. I'm guessing you're taking Columbo.
Oh, absolutely. I'm not going to do that to Coach Ryan, man. He's a great guy. I love hey, he said don't lose weight. He told me that I was with San Fran in 2012 and we went to play the Jets. And he got lost weight and did what he had to do. And he told me, he said, hey, thank you. I appreciate it. You're the reason I lost weight.
Wait.
I was going to say, obviously you guys had your thing, but I feel like Rex Ryan for you would be someone, he's on the opposite team, you hate him, but if you're on the same team, you guys would probably be best friends.
You love him. There's no question about it. You definitely will love him because, he's like the way that I like it.
It's my favorite thing Brandon ever gave. Say, hey, Rex Ryan, it's time to shut up, fat boy.
Yeah, because he was talking about how they own New York. No, man. And in the year he said they own, because they had just went to the AFC Championship, I think, the year before that, if I'm not mistaken. And they thought they didn't stink. They thought they had Times Square just owned. They had the lease. No, man. No, you don't. It's still out.
Newtown.
Were you part of the group ripping their banner off of, when you guys played in 2011, they put their banners over the Super Bowl signs. Were you part of that group ripping them off?
Oh, we didn't really rip them off. We just took them down, in a respectful manner. Just like they stood on the chair to put them up there. We just politely took them down and let them slide down the wall and be along the side and try to cover our stuff up. This is our stadium.
So Bradshaw had a cool run that game. He runs over jet safety. So we know that obviously you and Bradshaw were boys and were close, but what was that relationship like? Was it one of those things where game in and game out, you're busting each other's balls saying, oh, I got more yards this game? Or is it like genuinely you're trying to just boost each other up? So what was that relationship like between you two?
Well, Bulldog is like a brother to me. We carried each other in certain situations, as far as, playing, like football wise. He's always supported me. I always supported him. We fed off of each other. We like the running backs were a group, like we partied together. We traveled in the off season together. Like we were always together, So we had our running back dinner every Friday night. We actually started everybody on the team doing position dinners on Friday night. Because we had our running back stuff. We'll go to Abe and Arthur's restaurant we had on over there on the 9th Ave, Little West 12 there, and we would go there every Friday night. Other people started doing that, so we were pretty close as a group. So it didn't matter who got the success, as long as somebody in the room is talked about on Monday morning, we were satisfied with that.
Yeah, that team, man, I look up to, because you guys, and this is something we just had Joe on a couple weeks ago. We talked about the current team. It's like, yeah, I got some good players, solid players here, but I feel like they lack like just those tough ass, like just dudes on that team. And you guys had all of that, and obviously led to 2 Super Bowl runs. I want to talk about that final drive in 2007 though. 2 plays, 4th and 1 run. You don't seem like a guy who gets nervous. Did you have any nerves before that play?
No, I did not have any nervousness going on. I mean, however, I knew it was going to be a little bit more of a competitive 1 yard than the typical 1 yard, 4th and 1. I know they was going to do everything they can possibly do to stuff it. We didn't hide what we were doing. I thought it could have been a tad bit easier to get. Big Richie Sarbert was pulling. I love Rich to death. He's my guy. He tripped down right in the hole. And I'm like, shit.
We had him on the show, and I think we busted his balls about that play. So.
He tripped, and then I wasn't left with nothing. But I was just hoping I didn't hurt him, because once I saw it when he tripped, and once I saw that, I just motored down and just hit that one little crease right there as hard as I can. And their pressure, and then him tripping, I tripped actually behind the line of scrimmage with him, and I just happened to make it back to barely get that yard. So I was a little bit nervous when I got the ball and I looked down at the marker and saw it. I was like, he's gonna be close, but it wasn't. It was a whole couple, about an inch past the line. So it was pretty good. I wasn't though. I was just ready for competition. That's it.
Actually, I got 3 plays, because I almost forgot about the Tyree one. What's your vantage point of that play?
Well, I'm probably going to tell you the same thing every other player that you probably talk to said the same thing about the play. We running, I think it's 62, I think it's 63 protection, like 63 cafe wide sink or something like that it was. And I run my flat route, try to pull a linebacker from underneath. So he wouldn't drop. And I think it might have been like a deep post or soft post or something, or a glance or something like that. So trying to get that linebacker right out of that hole so he wouldn't interrupt the route. And I ran my flat. Linebacker never blitzed, so I didn't stand for a blitz. So he dropped. And then when I ended up running around, he came to cover me. And I saw him grab Eli. I'm like, damn, he's about to get sacked. Not a good time to get sacked. He's just going. I'm like standing there. He looks at Chris Nee, I think it is. And I see him look at him and getting ready to underhand the ball to him. And he just didn't do it. He stayed in there and he broke free and he threw it up in the air. So you see me threw the ball in the middle of the field way in the air. I'm like, I'd rather you take a sack than to do that. Don't do that. And David went up and made a play.
And that's what made Eli, though, is because, I'm sure there were many times you saw a play like that and it ended up in a pick. But in the biggest moments where, that's what people call that a lucky play. And I always say it's not lucky, because you had to have that mindset. And I thought it's why Eli thrived in the playoffs, is because the playoffs, you're not playing the 28th ranked defense. You're playing the best of the best. And you got to be ballsy and have some fuck it in you. And that's what Eli had, and shut up on that play. And now we got the Plax one. Cover 0, so you got to stay in blitz. Did you get a good look at it, or was you just like, man, this is a Super Bowl, I'm not taking any chances and peeking over at the throw?
Wow. I had already saw him man all the way on the outside. There was man on the outside. Everybody was impressed, actually. It was the nickel, and the other safety came over. And when I saw the safety play, they went from like a 2-man to like a 3 with the strong safety down. So when I saw him come over, I'm like, oh, that's the backside. I got forces strong and weak. He still forces it. Eli don't rename it. Eli didn't rename it. So I had to get back across the bow to make the block. And I saw him coming. I saw the coverage tilt. And I was like, we got man coverage. We got man coverage. Go. He like, go. He snaps it. He blitzes off the edge. Plex wins his route. And the rest is history. I pick up my blitz on the edge, and the rest is history. I saw that whole thing like that, though. I saw the whole thing because Plex caught a slant on him, early in the game. And I know they was going to, we knew they was going to jump it. So we went in, running, Plex stuck it and ran the inside and then put his feet, foot back, kind of turned a slant into like a fade. Most people would call it a proper slant and go or post corner, whatever they might want to call it. But he ran the slant and then came back outside and he was wide open. He dropped it right in there.
Joe, did you see it or were your eyes closed in fear the whole time?
No, I was on
the field. That blitz and safety I had coming off the edge. I didn't even know what was happening on the other side, but I knew we had man coverage. And I knew they was going to try to always defend the inside of things. So they was going to be playing heavy inside, just for us not to give up nothing, them not give up nothing in the middle of the field. So Plex made a play, man. He ran a great route, got in the bite, touchdown.
Hey, fast forward. I don't know if you guys know this. Fast forward a couple minutes later, and the Giants are obviously taking the victory. Brandon, tell these guys how of a non-selfish player you really are that not many people know. So we'll give Justin and Bobby a tidbit of information I've known forever, but why were you not on the field at the end?
Well, because every week, Reuben Jones was a guy who had been in the league for a long time. He was over the hill, none to say, nonetheless, but still gave us some good insight being an older guy in the locker room. He had been in the league maybe 7 years at that point. And I was a young guy, 3 years in starting and stuff like that. So we kind of had this thing where, like, even in practice, the victory, when we do victory on Saturdays, on Saturdays and Fridays, Reuben went in for that stuff. He went in and did that. And my wife gives me a hard time about this too. So the Super Bowl comes and we're in victory formation, know that that's going to be some of the best pictures posted in the history of the game. I lead the game and I let Reuben take it because that's what.
But they told you, they left you in and you did it.
Yeah, so they left me in the game. Like, that's just something Reuben do. So I'm gonna let him have it. This is what he does. I'm not gonna change what we've been doing every week. So
non-selfish. Such a great move on your part. It's not even funny.
I like that, and I forgot Reuben's on the team. I remember him having some years with Denver and stuff. So that's
was he a Brown too? I think he was a Brown.
I think he was both. Yes, Justin. Yep.
I think the only time I played against the Browns, played the Browns in 2008. We were on fire.
Yes.
The Monday Night Football game.
Beating everybody by like 3 touchdowns. Like, there's no competition. We go to Cleveland on a Monday night and they beat the living shit out of us.
Braylon Edwards.
He had 900 yards.
Oh my God, they destroyed us like so bad. I'm like, this is not. It was ugly. We did nothing. Maybe I think it was like 35-17, or we got that 17. We scored a touchdown late in the game, like 3 or 4 minutes ago in the game. They're killing us, man. It was so bad. But that's the only time I remember playing Denver.
Cleveland. You're talking about 08, man. You guys were, like you said, dominant. I think started out 8-0 that year or 7-0 or something like that, and then lost the Cleveland game. And then, I mean, you guys looked like you were on your way to at least be damn close to repeating. And then the Plex shooting happens. We don't got to rehash all of it, but I just wanted like a peek in the locker room when that happened. So obviously Pierce was involved too. Like, what were your guys' conversations like? Was it like down and out? Like how did all this happen? Like, what was it kind of?
When it first went down, when the whole thing first went down, it was more of is he okay? Because I got the call at my house from a mob. It was like maybe 4:30, 5 o'clock in the morning or something like that. Something of that nature. So I get the call, like, bro, you never guess what happened. I said, what happened? I'm like, because you called me about 10 times, so something happened. So I answered and he said, you never guess what happened, man. I said, well, like, Bugs got shot. I'm like, got shot? Is he okay? Like, is everything cool? Like, he's all right. He said, yeah, he cool. I said, wait, so where are y'all at? Like, what y'all doing? Like, we in the city, man. This night, I forgot the name of the club it was. I'm like, man, we trying to get, we getting right. But come find out, he shot, that get sweatpants or something like that. And then coming down the stairs or something like that at a Glock. No safety, obviously. And I guess the gun goes sliding down his pants or whatever it is. And he tries to catch it. Well, when he's catching it, the hand goes on the trigger and it shoots him. And what went through my mind immediately then is, okay, number one, I didn't even think about football. Didn't even think about football. Didn't even think about a team. Didn't think about none of that because Flex was truly my guy. Like, he was my guy. So that happens, and when Amon said he's okay, we woke up the next morning. Everything was still kind of quiet, so it didn't get out till like later on in that day where it happened. And Flex is cool. He didn't hit any arteries. Everything's good. The bullet's out. We're just gonna stitch him up. Be ready to go. So I'm like, cool. So we don't waste no time. We good. And then the example came. Man. Make somebody the example. And then that's what started to happen to us, man. Like, when that happened, we didn't think that it was going to be that bad. We didn't think that he wasn't going to let him play. We didn't think any of that. We just thought it was something that happened. He didn't harm anybody else. He got a gun on him. He didn't harm anybody else. So he'll be straight. He harmed himself. He's going to come back. Everything will be good. We got to beat this. We got to beat this. We got to beat this. Like, that's all of us are thinking. He never played anymore. Like after that, and then went to jail. I'm like, that's fucked up. That's fucked up. Like, you really gonna put him in jail for having a gun in the place where, or having a registered gun in a place where he don't have license. It was enough that he got it. I understand we can't kind of, we could do something other than lock him up. And locked him up. And right then and there, we didn't realize what our team was made of until we lost Plex.
Yeah.
He had a lot to, even though he only had maybe going into week 12 or something, I think he only had like maybe 400 or 500 receiving yards or something like that. Not much at all, but nobody really, really knew how much Plexico had to do with our offensive success.
Yeah.
He had a whole lot to do with it. He may not have been having a good season, but Amani was doing well. We had other guys out there that was taking up the slack for when, because they doubled him. They got a guy over in there, they cover two. They got a safety over the top. So what are you going to do? You got a wide receiver on the other side, Mr. Reliable, Amani Toomey. You just can't you need two people here. You need at least one there. So there's three people out, at least 8 men. You got 3 wides. So somebody got to cover the slot. You know what that meant? They couldn't load the box.
Yeah. So
you either stop Plexico on the outside or you put that safety inside, try to stop the run, and then we'd kill you with him. When he went down and we lost him, we only won one more game that season. We lost him, I think it was the week after, can't remember who it was we played. So we was 11-1. Like, when it happened, we ended up going 12-4. We ended up going 12-4 for that season. Birds, getting the number 1 to Carolina Panthers. And we come in the playoffs in the divisional round. We get the first round by and play against the fucking Eagles, I think, and they beat us to shut us out. We didn't score, I don't think. I think it was like 23-0 in our stadium. It was so embarrassing. But Plexico was the glue to the offense. He wasn't having the offense, a great offense. He wasn't having a great season like he's capable of having. He had been hurt all season. He had been battling with injuries. Yeah, he just got his contract. So Plex had a lot of stuff going on, So he was still out there balling. And when we didn't have him, it kind of exposed our team a little bit, and it ended up coming to a screeching halt.
And that's when you could start stacking the box a little bit more, and you turn your 2,000-yard rushers that you have on the team. When Plax is on the field, there's one less guy there. You got a guy over the top. So yeah, I mean that I think teams would almost rather to have you run 4 to 5 yards every play rather than give up a 40, 50-yard bomb.
Yeah.
So I think that's kind of like when it turned right there, you know. I want to talk about Tom Coughlin. You come in the league in 2005, so that's before kind of like TC's transformation, going from General Tom to kind of being Grandpa Tom, right? So how did you kind of take that when you first came into the league? Was that almost just like, all right, I'm in the NFL, this is the way things were? Was it kind of a shock at first? So how did how were you like Tom Coughlin's relationship, especially like when you first come into the league and he's still like pretty strict with everything?
Well, to say this, I've never had any problems with the way Coach Coughlin led. Okay, I never had any problem with that. I had some run-ins with Coach Coughlin, and yes, Coach, no coach. I was coached by guys like that coming into the NFL. I was coached by guys that had that kind of coaching demeanor. Well, some of it doesn't make sense, but you got to coach. You know, so I didn't ever have an issue with the way it was, man. So that's one guy that I respect as a one of the greatest leaders throughout the history of football. Like, he's going to prepare you for battle. He's going to tell you everything that's going to happen. He's going to tell you when it's going to happen. When you get out there on Sunday, it happened when he said it was. And what he said was going to happen. Like that. Like, he prepared us for real battle. Like, he prepared us. Like, if we was an army going out shooting these teams with guns, I probably would think we'd win. You know, we had to go out and be in a war type setting. Probably think we'd win because he was that military. He always had somebody, that was high ranked in the U.S. military, come in and talking to us weekly. Guys that sacrificed their legs and arms and fingers throughout the military being in war. Those guys would come in like every week, to talk to us. So that's kind of the mentality he had. So he had us prepared for every battle that we were in. When we lost the battle, it wasn't because we wasn't prepared. It wasn't because of that.
And I love the story of you had somebody come in early in the 2007 season. I'm forgetting his name. But, and then I remember you referenced that story of that veteran who lost a leg. And when you're like in Green Bay and when you're freezing your asses off, it's like, well, this ain't too bad. You know what I mean? And that's what kind of propels you guys to, to go on and do awesome things. So that's so cool. Awesome.
Greg is a guy, he lost his leg, stepped on a landmine, did something. He said, I was out of place by 1 inch. I was out of place by 1 inch, and I lost my leg. Think about it, fellas. 1 inch. Wow.
Yeah, Gatson became a good luck charm for you guys.
Yeah, he'd be around all the time. He would be around. Johnson always have him around. They bring the games, they find the games, like with us sometimes. We still started picking his brains and stuff like that. Then a guy like myself had kids. And they looking at the man's nub, his nub, looking at him like he's crazy. Greg was a good sport about it, though, man. So, yeah, Coach Coughlin had people like that around us, man, where we didn't have any choice but to be prepared for battle.
He said nub.
I got one more question, but, Joe, I want to see, do you have anything else before we wrap it up?
No, all you guys.
All right, so I've always wondered this, and I've listened to interviews with you, and you guys had a lot of good memories, so this never gets brought up, and this wasn't one of your low memories. But I'm fascinated. How quickly did you realize you fucked up when you threw the helmet in the stands in Indy?
I mean, immediately, because I didn't want to do that.
I've done dumb shit like that, and it's just like, oh man, that was dumb. That was dumb. How do I cover for my ass on this?
And I could see, and when I did it, like, people would always say, like, there's no way that was a mistake. I can see how they say that, right? But I had on these real sticky Reebok gloves. Me and Amal were the only two guys on the team that wore these gloves. Nobody else did. They were the greatest gloves. You put them on your hand. There's leather inside, just stuck to your hand. It was a regular glove, like, great. And man, I had the absolute worst game ever that game. And Coach Coughlin was on my ass, pulled me out the game. Like, every time I'm out, I would get in and break, he'll go. I'm like, well, they can't block for me like that. You know what I mean? But I was like pissed. You know, like, so I got out of the game. I went to throw the helmet up against the bench. It was the bench right there. So I went to throw it up against the bench, but man, I didn't let it go. On that time, I just threw it and it left my hand. Like, I tried to let it go to hit the bench and it flew like 20. I was going to try to break that bench. But the thing flew like 25 rows up there, and I'm like, holy shit, I really didn't want to do that. I really didn't want to do that. So I had to, we got it back. I paid it like a $20,000 fine.
It was right over my head.
I'm sure you're trying to keep it as quiet as possible, maybe get it back quickly, but I remember the fan was like, no, I'm not letting go of this. Like, I'm going home with this helmet.
That's exactly what happened. That went right over my head.
And I was like, let him keep it. Okay, helmet, who cares? Like, let him keep it. I just threw a helmet up there. The NFL could be sued. The Giants could be sued. Like, we all could be sued. Let him keep the fucking helmet.
It's like, throw him some more shit, man. It was on purpose. I'm giving away game gear, you know?
Right. It's crazy, but it ended up being, you know, I think Peyton ended up, helping me and the Giants blow it over, you know,
yeah.
As far as legality is concerned. But I paid a $20,000 fine, and I'm not sure what that person, the fan, got, because he caught it. It didn't hit anybody, you know. But yeah, that was an interesting one, man. But I really didn't want to do that. I really did not want to throw it. I promise I did not want to throw it. I wanted to throw it at the bench. It just latched on for an extra couple inches. Flew up.
I just remember on TV, and then you see some fan playing tug of war with the security guy with the helmet, you know. So I remember being like, I would have just got up and ran out of the stadium. Like, I don't need to sue. I just want that damn helmet. But Brandon, we appreciate you coming on. Looking forward to seeing your son's, you know, like, career go forward. Obviously, a lot of high school ball left. So, and you know what? Maybe we'll be in a place we'll give him some NIL money, have him tweeting out "Talking Giants first the world" or something.
And we'll take it, because they are definitely giving these kids this money. That's another thing I'm looking at, man. You guys make money. Like, these guys going into high school. I mean, these guys going, you know, they're going into college with $600,000-$700,000 in their bank account. Like, gee, Monetti, like, man, you ain't got nothing to work for.
Hey, Brandon, who's having more fun on these visits, Braden or his brother?
Well, his brother's really eating up because he's about that stuff. But he was.
It's literally like The Blind Side.
Yeah, he want to go and try to on a uniform too and do this stuff. Like, they recruit the family, man. Like, when they recruit a kid, they literally recruit the family.
I've seen some short, pudgy dads wearing Florida Gators, you know, jerseys and tight pants and everything, you know.
Yeah, you'll never see me doing that.
So, Brandon, we appreciate you jumping on with us, man. Thanks again.
Hey, thanks for having me, fellas.
Yeah.
No doubt, guys.
All right, thank you once again to Brandon Jacobs for coming on the show. And before we get on out of here, we got to talk about Roman, man to man, me to you, person to person. I want you to feel confident. This show is about feeling confident. Is Brandon Jacobs not one of the most confident running backs in NFL history, in Giants history? He wants to punch you in the mouth every single play. And even in your relationships, I want you to feel confident. And if you need a little bit of a boost, you got to start with Roman. Roman swipes, they're clinically proven to help you last longer in bed. There are no prescriptions needed. PE treatments, they're safe, they're effective, they're used by millions of men. It is free 2-day shipping. I love the fast shipping, and it's even discreet. If you don't want your partner finding out that maybe you do have a little bit of a confidence problem, Roman is also discreet as well when it helps you out with PE. Very common in men. 52% of men suffer from PE if you are over the age of 40. So I want you to go to GetRoman.com/world, Talking Giants versus the world today. And if you're approved, you'll get $10 off your first order. That's GetRoman.com/world. Let's wrap it up with Brandon Jacobs, LPG, Bobby Skinner. No pun intended when I say wrap it up.
All right, thanks again, Brandon Jacobs, for coming on, and thank you, license plate guy, for making it happen. And we kept him on for the closing because we didn't get to. I felt bad we didn't get to talk to you much during the interview, but Brandon Jacobs was. The Mark Columbo stuff was my favorite. Like he dove all in. Like that was a dream scenario.
He literally wants to face off. So I don't know if I could put together a celebrity softball game and a celebrity boxing match, but
yeah, do for charity. Like Mark Columbo hates kids. If Mark Columbo denies it, Mark Columbo hates kids with cancer or something. Like Mark Columbo wants kids to have cancer.
That's right. We'll just spread that rumor around. And if Brandon can't make it, I'll just get judged. It'll be fine.
Yeah. Whip his ass a second time. Dude, but seriously, thank you, man. That was, you talked about how he's one of the realest dudes, that's why Brandon Jacobs is a lot of, including myself, like favorite Giants player. Like obviously Eli's my favorite, but if you think about from that team, it's like the O-line, those are guys, my football heroes, but it's like Brandon Jacobs. Brandon Jacobs was that dude. So it was,
I mean, first of all, you're both welcome. I told you this last year or 2 years ago, and thanks for staying on me, especially last week or 2 weeks ago when I was on, and you reminded me. It's like, you know what? Let me stop, BSing around and get him on, and obviously anything for you guys. And it's funny, he really is the most down to earth guy I've ever known. Just the way we met, the way we're still friends, and if I need anything or vice versa, it happens. And yeah, he's always going to be a big blue favorite. I chalk him up to like players like Nick Gates, the guys that go after other players when they pick on our players, or talk to the fans, or do this, or beat up, Philadelphia Eagle pads, or throw the football at the clock. Like, as fans, we like that. We want them to hate the other teams. And Brandon's the number one guy for that.
All right, man. We appreciate you.
No doubt.
We appreciate Brandon Jacobs, and we appreciate all the listeners. Let us know what you guys thought of the podcast. Tweet at Brandon Jacobs and LPG saying, thanks for coming on. So we'll see you guys on Friday. Until then, let's go Big Blue.